All right. Welcome back to the Forest Brothers podcast. It's your boy Amunza Chris Don back in the cut, joined by my two brothers, Nkosi and Samson. What's good, brothers? Happy to be here, listeners. So, in this particular episode, we'll be talking about the FA Cup final that took place on Saturday. It was between Crystal Palace and Manchester City. Crystal Palace beat Man City 1-0 and won their first title in their history, actually. So it was a very, very big day for the boys at Crystal Palace. They've had what I will say a very excellent season. They've done really, really well, I would like to say. And yeah, man, I was proud of them. And, funny enough, I know this season has been bad for Man City, but I've never seen Pep so rattled in my life. Like, Pep was so angry after that game. Like, he was losing it. I don't know if you guys saw, but I know he's had bad moments this season, but I think the FA Cup final was probably he's like, okay, you know what? I know we crashed out of the Premier League. We're fighting for Champions League. I get it. But this is gonna be our title this season. Like, we can still say, hey, we're having a terrible season, but we're winning trophies. And we're playing Crystal Palace. That's a dub. Come on. Like, we've beaten Palace all the time. Like, that's biggest stage. Come on. And the fact that Palace scored in the 16th minute, they had all the time to equalize. And they didn't do it. They had a penalty. Mamouche fucked it. Right? So I can understand Pep being frustrated at the result. And of course the officiating as well. Like I know he wasn't happy with the officials of the game. But anyways, I'm curious to hear what you brothers thought about that game. Let me take it to you, Mangoro. As you're watching that game, my guy, what was your takeaway from this young final?
Uh, when I think about this particular game, I think of Man City and just a season they've had, just to touch on what you're talking about there. And for them, I think this was going to be like some sort of not only salvation, but like some sort of relief that, okay, fine, we've had a bad season, but at least we're going to win the FA Cup. Because now, a lot of chatter that's been happening on social media, whether it be true or false, is now people are comparing between City and Arsenal who had a better season because they both didn't win trophies, but they both in the top four. So there is that angle as well that people have been pushing, that narrative as well. And also, I think the other thing that's frustrating Pep the most is they lost to Crystal Palace. And when you look at the stats, it was pretty bad on the Palace side. You would have thought that Palace gonna lose like 5-0. Like I think when they got that chance, I think to score the goal with Eze, I think they had like 20% possession to Man City's 80. Like you can imagine shots on target, like when you look at the end of the game, 23 shots for City and 7 for Palace, 2 on target for Palace, 6 on target for City, and they still lost that final. So I think those are some of the things that were frustrating him. The other thing that was frustrating Prep, I think, and he mentioned it in the press conference after the game, was the fact that it seemed like tactically Glasner had his number because he did mention something along the lines of next season they're going to figure out this Palace system and they're going to beat Palace. And because Palace don't play a traditional back four, they play this 3-4-3. And the way that Glasner had it set up, I think it caught Pep out because, and I think Pep, interestingly enough, now when I think about it, Pep, he doesn't do well with these back three systems. I think he did overthink the final because he didn't play a traditional CDM in that final because it was Bernardo and Kevin De Bruyne playing in the double pivot without a CDM, and then the rest were attackers. I take you back to Champions League 2021. He played against Chelsea. He didn't play a six that game. They also played the exact same formation that Palace played. So maybe this formation does give him a bit of trauma, and that's what affected him. But when you look at the game as a whole, it was a beautiful game. It was just the certain aspects that I want to touch on, the goal especially. First one is being the goal. I think on the Palace side, that was a good counter attack move. I do want to give credit to Mr. the striker, what's his name, Jean-Philippe Mateta. I still don't rate him, but he did make a good play there to pass it on to first shield the ball as a center forward, something that Rasmus Højlund could start to do more often, and then play a simple pass to Ismail Assar, and then it gets to Munoz on the right wing back. And what I like about Munoz's play there, and I think some Chelsea players, maybe the wing backs could also start to implement, and maybe just wing backs across the Premier League, the power of the cutback. The power of the cutback is very important because naturally what happens is the center backs are going to all retreat and go and cover the goal. That leaves the space. If you just stop as an attacker, you were literally free. You can score. And the weight of the cross, the weight of the pass, literally the attacker, all you have to do is just put it on a target. Doesn't even have to pick us up because the power, where's it coming from? It's coming from the cross. You don't have to worry about adding power because that's what Eze did. He was just like, if I get to this first and I just put it on target, there's a high chance it's going to go in. And that's pretty much what happened. And they scored. But there's a guy that plays the midfield for Palace. I think he's very underrated. I think he's been in the England fold, but that final he did very well. Adam Wharton in the middle of the park. This guy came from Blackburn out of Norway in January, I think a year or two ago. And he's now proving that he's actually quite a good midfielder and he's starting to grow leaps and bounds. Shout out to him, man. I think it's very important that we shout him out. And the other one, definitely, I want to mention Mark Gehi. That's my boy, Mark Gehi. Might be coming home soon. I would hope so. But I do want to mention Man City on the penalty saga. Uh, I don't know what the rationale was for Mr. Stay Humble giving it to Mamouche, who missed a listener for those that don't know. Like, to me, I was like, why exactly are you doing that? Like, it's a cup final. Take it. You're the designated penalty taker. This is not a family. This is not a family fun fair now where you want to give people opportunities to score. Because what does it change? It changes nothing. Like, just score the penalty, equalize, and then maybe if you get another one, you can give it to Mamouche. So I didn't understand that whole thing with Mamouche. Like, first you give it to him, and then Mamouche humbles. I mean, Henderson humbled Mamouche when he saved it, and then he saved the follow up from Haaland. It just didn't look great on the Man City day. Like for all in all, even the doctor there at Man City was now fighting the doctor at Palace. Like it was just bad. Like it was just a bad day for City, honestly. Like across the board, Doku was doing all sorts of things. Doku was pretty like I think he's a good player, but decision making. There were some shots he was taking, and I was like, Doku, my boy, here you're not doing anything of note. So yeah, City as a whole, I think they should go back and reset. If this is the squad they take into Club World Cup, I think they're not gonna do very well, in my opinion.
Wasn't the rationale about Holland's penalty thing the fact that who said that he had missed his last couple of penalties and maybe it was he's also coming from injury and he was like, hey Mamouche, you've been the one in form and so you should take that because my chat was today we watched the Man City versus Bournemouth game and Mamouche scored a rocket. My chat is if you have that in your locker, my boy, why are you trying to panenka a penalty like in that moment? And I mean, I didn't understand, but yeah, I think Haaland probably should have taken it. And even the ricochet, I don't know why Haaland decided to take a shot at that moment. He could have just like put it back in the middle because Mamouche was standing right there, and that could probably have ended up as a goal. But he decided to like, oh, I'm a chance it, and yeah, I don't know. But Sangi, what about you? What are your reflections from that game?
Yeah, I enjoyed this game so much because, man, those number I'll just stop by saying those Palace players, those are legends. Okay, those are players who this club are gonna remember for life. All of those fans are gonna love these players for life. It doesn't matter what else they do. They could leave tomorrow. It doesn't matter. They've cemented themselves in the club forever because that's the first major trophy. That's it. Like you brought a club its first major trophy. Do you know how rare that is in England, like in modern football? That's incredible to me. So shout out to them, man. And yeah, I thought it was a good game. I did think that the Palace had a chance because I saw Man City against Nottingham Forest in the semis, and I thought they did look shaky on the counter. And that's been their weakness all season. And I thought, Crystal Palace, I thought Nottingham Forest, good counter-attacking team. The only issue is Nottingham Forest actually tried to press Man City, and that was their downfall. Crystal Palace did not do that. Crystal Palace said, we're going to stay in our half. We're going to keep our defenders deep. It's going to be your responsibility to play football to break us down, and we're just going to counter. And even the goal they scored, that came from a goal kick. They played out from the back, they drew in the pressure, then long ball to Mateta, like perfect. And all this was happening. I forget what the broadcast was. I think it might have been BBC or BT Sport. Sean Dyche was talking about it as it happened. He was describing going long to the target man, just knock it to the target man with his deep voice. He was narrating it, and then it happened just like he's narrating it. It was beautiful. Beautiful. Poetry, I'd say. But yeah, it was a great game, great goal. And yeah, Man City back to the drawing board. They clearly miss Rodri. I'm not sure if Rodri necessarily fixes what we've seen go wrong because, again, because he's spoken about all year, the squad, is a problem. They don't have the legs, seemingly, because you could see it in the game. The longer the game went, the less dangerous they looked. I thought they had more opportunities to score in the first half, and the later it went, you just thought, there's nothing they're doing here. So that needs to improve. New signings, need to come in, and Pep definitely has to revise his back three tactics because I think Glasner he had even said, if Pep plays this way the next time we meet, we'll figure it out. And there you go, he figured it out. Which, by the way, that's one of the coldest things I think a manager's ever said. Because imagine saying that to Pep. Pep, if you do that, we'll feel like damn. And he does it in the final. Wow. But yeah, I thought it was great. Loved it. And for the penalty, I know Man City fans want to complain about the decisions there. I will say yes, because I think it was Henderson. He might have touched the ball when he was outside the box. His foot was on the line. You can debate whether that's inside, outside. I think the rule on that isn't clear. That's number one. And number two, your penalty wasn't a penalty either. So I don't think you have a fight here, because his I think Henderson's thing, I think probably at best, you'd call it a yellow card and a free kick, sure. But, if VAR was doing their job, then you also wouldn't get a penalty. So I feel like you can't really blame referees in this instance. You just didn't play well enough because you were gifted a penalty. I honestly don't think that was a penalty. I think Bernardo Silva dove. If you look at the replay, I think it's Tyrick Mitchell. He gets the ball. He doesn't get a lot of the ball, but he gets some of the ball. And Bernardo Silva, he's already going down. By the time he sees him there, he's going down. And he takes the slightest touch and he throws himself. So, hey, man, just take your chances. And by the way, last season, Arsenal were playing Luton away from home. We had the green kits. We were up a few goals. We got a penalty. I think it was either Martin Odegaard or Bukayo Saka. They had the ball. They gave it to Havertz. Havertz scored. And the entire world went mad. The entire world said we are an unserious club. This is why we don't win anything. We have a small club mentality because it's a family fun day and people don't do their jobs. People don't take penalties when they're supposed to. Here comes Mr. Humble. The all-time, the best goal scorer in the land. One of the best players in the world giving up a penalty. Oh, it's because he's coming from injury. Oh, he didn't believe in himself. He has no confidence. Small club, small mentality. Ridicule him now. Because I remember this. I remember that week. You guys were on our ass for like a month. I remember. I need the smoke. I need the smoke to be there for him because you could say that's the game right there. He's the big man. He's the best penalty taker on the pitch. He's the best finisher on the pitch. There's really no reason why he should be doing that in a final. We did it against Luton when we were already winning. This is a final. I mean, come on. So good. Congratulations to Palace, but Man City, yeah, this is the icing on a very bad season, like on all fronts. So
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I don't think Man City deserved to win a trophy this season. In all honesty, like just the way they've been, how they've played, and someone actually said that Man City are obviously overcoached. Like they were like, yeah, this team is reeking of overcoaching. Like there's just no ingenuity. There's no like there's like the old robots, and they can't adapt to like if a Glasner can say, hey, we'll figure out your system, that means that you're doing something too much. Like there should still be a little era of these guys can just come out with something that is unexpected and that we'll have to. So the fact that it's easy now for a Glasner to come and say, hey, we can handle that, and they do, because if one of the other stats that is so surprising to me when I'm looking at the game, in terms of passes, Man City had 679 passes with a pass accuracy of 91%. Crystal Palace had 192. Pass accuracy 66. So imagine Man City passed the ball pretty much 5 times more in that game than Crystal Palace did. And it led to nothing. What are we doing? What are those passes being made? What are we saying here? So I don't know. It's just one of those things like, are they passing just for the sake of it? Where is it going? What's the point? Like, I feel like there has to be some direction. So yeah, I think that is a stat that does support that these guys are definitely too overcoached. I think Pep was maybe overthinking things, and too much pressure on him. And I hope, yeah, I think it just needs the summer to reset and refocus and rethink this whole thing. Hopefully he gets that time, because hey, but again, at the end of the day, I'm super excited for Crystal Palace. Like as you were saying, Samson, that winning a trophy, the club's first trophy, it's a big thing. It's not like if in your entire history you've never won a trophy, and for this moment to be the time you do it against all these tough competition, it's a big thing. And I'm especially happy for Eberechi Eze. I love Eze. I think he's such a talented kid. I don't know if he's going to stay at Crystal Palace, or I feel like a big team needs to scoop him up. He's such a talent. He looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He tries his best. Yeah, sometimes he disappears, but hey, who doesn't, right? So the fact that they have that, and I saw some conversation online about the boy Wilfred Zaha. And I think someone caught him and they're like, Exo Zaha, how would you feel about Crystal Palace winning a trophy? Because listen, at the end of the day, Zaha is Crystal Palace, right? I don't know what do you guys think about an honorary mention of Zaha in this title, like because it's for I would say that for an Eze to exist, it's because of Zaha, right? Zaha is the reason we even have some of these young talents in Crystal Palace. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I think Zaha was somebody who opened the door for these younger black players to shine at Crystal Palace, the Gays, all of these guys. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I do agree with that, because like when you take it back from like even I don't know if pre-Polasi, I mean pre-Zaha, like there was still people like Polasi and them like just cooking up a nice meal there at Crystal Palace. Then you look at him, but his reaction to me like didn't seem genuine. Like this is like your club that you grew up playing for. Like they gave you a lifeline, and Manchester United ditched you. Like, and you literally revived your career at them. Maybe he was rushing somewhere, like from that video that circulated online. I kind of didn't feel 100% about that. I felt that he was going to be more like excited about it. But just to mention, like, I think we also have to add a few credits to other people as well. Steve Parish, the chairman, because Steve Parish, when you remember last summer, he sold their star player Michael Olise, and that man had been cooking, and he fought off interest from Newcastle for Mark Gahey, and he kept Eberechi Eze. So shout out to Steve Parrish, I think he's done a good job. The squad looks quite good. He's put in a good manager in Glasner. Glasner is actually quite a good manager. Like when people speak about the work that he did at Eintracht Frankfurt, it's pretty impressive. He's got a good resume on his hand. I think he was actually one of the few managers that one of the other managers actually did develop someone like Omar Mamouche, like because Mamouche did play under him at Frankfurt. So Glasner as a whole is a good coach. But yeah, Eze for me, like I think it's his time. Like his time has arrived. Like he's been, I wouldn't say in the shadow, but like he hasn't been spoken about enough. Like in the last couple of years, now that Olise is gone, I think he stepped up to the plate. Because when you think about his story, he was rejected by Arsenal, released by Millwall. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. And I think it was only when Queen's Park Rangers actually gave him a shot and were like, come through, son. We'll also give you the platform. And he did well. Then that earned him the move to Palace. Now we're seeing the true qualities of him and he's stepping up at the right time. And shout out to him, man. It's been a commendable journey for him from like where he's come from. Like, because he's a young player, black kid, like in the UK, like so it's already like already a disadvantage for him to come through all of that and now to be the talisman. I hope he doesn't make a very silly transfer move to another club, the Lily Whites, and ruin his career. You should definitely look certainly above that.
I was gonna say also what you were saying. So he joined Arsenal's academy, and then 5 years later he was released. Then he went to Fulham, spent around 2.5 years there, and then got released. And then got released from them. Then joined the Reading Academy and got released around 6 months later. Then ended up going to Millwall for his like scholar and got released 2 years later. Went on trials at multiple clubs, but he didn't make it in. And then QPR like took him in, and then they offered him a new contract after a few months. And then ended up joining Crystal Palace in the 2020-2021 season. So I hope his story is a beacon of light for many of these players, like especially the ones that play like in the championship or even like EPL2, like some of these like because hey, listen, you never know who's gonna scoop you up and you never know where your career takes you, right? Because how old is Eze right now? Let me see. Eze is 26.
26. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he's but again, it's the journey, right? Like he's won a trophy now at this point in time. He's played for England. He's been called up. So I guess it's a nice story to have for someone like Eze. Like all these players end up. Even if you look at Jamie Vardy, right? Jamie Vardy now he's leaving Leicester, 200 goals in 500 games, right? This guy came from who knows where. Like we all know Vardy's story, and he managed to win the Prem. Become you can be considered a Prem legend. So I know a lot of people don't like him, but he's won a Premier League. He put up the goals.
Almost
Well,
went to Arsenal.
Yeah. So look at yeah, Arsenal just keeps rejecting all the star guys, man. So, it's just one of those things, and yeah, so I hope a lot of players take from Eze's playbook and just, hey, if you're really passionate about this thing, just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing.
Yeah, because it's development isn't like an easy thing. I think people take it for granted sometimes. You see people like Yamal, you see people like Nwaneri, like 16 guys tearing up the under 18s. That's not everyone. A lot of people get released, at these clubs. They go into the championship or they do exit trials and then they end up in League One, League Two, and you have to play your way up. So for him to actually play his way up and get back, and start playing in the Premier League, performing well, and to actually win a trophy from those levels, I mean, it's commendable. And to do it, not at the end of his career, still approaching his prime, incredible. Because I think he still has another level he could go to. Like if he shows up again, a team like Arsenal, a team like Liverpool, I think he could be the difference in a team that wins the league. I think that's how good he is. So I'll forever root for that guy. I think his journey has been incredible. On the Zaha piece, I just want to say, this football thing, it's also about your environment and luck. Because, like we're saying, we talk about Eze right now. We talk about Mateta. Um, how do we know that if Glasner wasn't in charge, we'd be talking about them? If Patrick Vieira was in charge, would we be talking about these guys? I mean, if Roy Hodgson was in charge, would we be talking about them? It's because so these things matter. Now, I bring that up because Crystal Palace was in an FA Cup final in 2016. They played Manchester United. They lost that game 2-1. The manager at the time was Alan Pardew, and he lost to, I think it was Van Gaal, who's probably one of the worst United managers in recent memory. Like, that guy was not great. And Palace at the time had a pretty solid team. I think they definitely had enough to win that game, but didn't have the right coach, didn't have the right circumstances, so it just didn't work out. So I think from Zaha's perspective, you can't really be bitter about that kind of thing. It's just, you were there, you did your thing, you scored some goals, the fans loved you, they still love you, but hey, circumstances just didn't align. Whereas for Eze and this group, you got the right manager at the right time, and you also have the right opponent. The opponent played to their strengths. We can't forget that. So it's about timing to a certain degree, and they certainly hit it right on time. This group.
Yeah, and I know we've had conversations about the Premier League and whether it's actually improved or declined. But I think Crystal Palace is a good indicator of how much the Premier League has improved in the sense that, of course, you brought up Munoz. That's a star player right there. That guy's he's so good, right? He can walk into any team and he'll cook. He's actually better than a lot of players at Big Six clubs. And we look at him. Even Eze is really good. Gay's good. Henderson as a keeper, he got released from Man United. Now he's winning a trophy. All these guys. Chilwell was released from Chelsea. He's there. I think he even scored a goal in today's game. So, it's the quality of these smaller teams has been increasing overall. Like as Samson, you just said, 2016 they win the final, they lost. 2025 then the final, they beat the best team in the world last year, right? And so, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see the fact that a team, because right now in the Premier League, Crystal Palace is 12th, so it's not as if like they're up there, but you don't know that from watching them play. You'd actually think that these guys are a top 8 team, and it's not like they're far away. They're just like 2 points away from that, like a point. Like if they win the last game and the other teams above them win, they could actually finish like maybe 8th or 9th. Let me make sure I'm saying the right
ninth,
thing.
about ninth.
About 9th, right? Which is so finishing in the top 10 in the Premier League this season is actually like a really good metric because it's been hot. It's been hot in there. So anyway, that's kudos to them, and we'll see. Do you guys think that Eze will stay at Crystal Palace next season, or you think he's gonna get bought?
This time,
I think he'll stay.
You'll stay?
because I think there's always gonna be, in my opinion, at these clubs, there's always one player, at least one, who makes a move. So I'd say either him or Gehi, one of them is gonna move. They both can't stay, in my opinion, because for either one, you're gonna be looking at like 70 to 80 million for sure, guaranteed. Of course, I think given this success, I feel like Palace would want to like get that money and then just keep like building, go the next step. And Eze is the perfect age to sell as well. He's 26, at this point, if you keep him, you're kind of holding him back. And I feel like even Crystal Palace, they know they're kind of holding it back if they keep him. Like if you get a good offer, 80 million, I feel like you should take it.
Who'd buy it though? Where do you think he'll go?
I mean, I'd say, all the top clubs in England, I think, should be looking at him. Like if you are Chelsea, if you are Liverpool, if you are Arsenal, if you're, United and Spurs, you guys, you can dream, but I don't think you're there yet. I feel like you guys will also hold him back. But yeah, those teams will be good. If he wants to go abroad, I mean, for English players going abroad, it's a little difficult because I don't see him going to like a team like Real Madrid or Barca because they always go for like a higher profile of player, right? He doesn't have that reputation yet. Um, but yeah, I'd say any of those top English teams, if they're looking for a left winger or like an attacking midfielder, I think he's the man.
He could cook at PSG actually.
Actually, according to some transfer rumors or some transfer speculation, he's on the list of Man City. So Man City are currently looking at Florian Wirtz to try and replace De Bruyne. If that doesn't work out, the next two best options they have on the list, one of them is Eberechi Eze, the other one is Morgan Gibbs-White at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and yeah, Man City would make a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
Or if he really wants to challenge him, I don't know if Newcastle's going to be in the Champions League, but Newcastle would be a decent shout. You know, you can kind of trick yourself into the idea like they're going places, I guess, you know, if they keep spending, if they keep, but you know, we all know once Isak leaves, it's it's back to top 8 finishes for sure over there, but it is what it is.
That there, listener, is hate from the boy Samson. That was hate.
Yo,
Don't listen to that brother because yeah, that was pure hate.
look, I'm just, yo, we know what that brother does for that team. We know. I'm not trying to hate. I'm just like, yo, I'm sorry, Newcastle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was hating. Anyway, I think that's actually a good place to end the pod. Not much else to say about these two teams. I think the right thing happened. You know, Crystal Palace winning their trophy. So congrats again to them. Congrats to Glasner. Congrats to Eze. You know, Glasner's first season in the Prem, he wins a trophy. You know, I know some managers have been chasing it for the last 5 years, but and you just you know,
Not his first season.
not his first one anyway. I just wanted to just balance the hate. But you know, Glasner, yeah, winning a trophy. That's
Say it
nice.
with your chest, my guy. Say 5 years. Arteta has now won a trophy. Say it. Don't be scared.
No, yeah. I wanted to say it low enough that only Samson will know what I'm saying. Just reserve the pain alone for him. But Glasner winning a trophy, Eze winning a trophy, you know, all these guys, and it meant a lot to them. So, hey, you know what? Proud of them. Wait, so this means that they'll play Community Shield next season? Is that what that means?
Yes.
So it'll be Crystal
And
Palace,
they're-
Liverpool.
Yes, and they'll be in Europe next year.
So it automatically means they'll play what, Europa?
Yes.
Hey, look at that. No, that's actually amazing. No, I'm proud of them. I'm happy for them. So no, good for them. Good for them. So anyway, with that, listener, I think that's a good place. So we'll say thank you so much for hanging out with us. You know, subscribe, comment, like, tune in, all the good stuff, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out.